and write a book. I mean, that's one way to do it. You can audio record. You can use a ghostwriter, like you mentioned. There's just so many good ways to create content now. But talk a little bit about, let's dig into your history just a little bit with, that Silent Sales Machine book. I think if I remember right, you actually were one of the people who read that. Is that right?
Jim, it will be a turning point in my life forever. That is when I met Jim Cockrum. And that is when I realized, thinking back, what I did is I bought that. We sold on eBay back then. And just as kind of a sideline, and someone had come up to me and said, I have a huge, rare book collection. Will you sell it for us on eBay? And my first answer was yes. But of course, inside I was going, I hope I can do this. And so I somehow saw Silent Sales Machine. I think you had just put it out. And I was doing a lot of research on how to sell on eBay, and we had sold a few things. So it wasn't a complete unknown to me. And back then it was kind of like the Wild West. I mean, you could do about anything, sell about anything, and no one cared. And so I got your book and I thought, this sounds pretty good. And something about it, I don't think that, just as an aside, I'm a Christian, I'm a believer, and you are too. And something about the way you wrote just told me that you were. I don't think in that very first volume, 1.0, I don't even think you said anything about that. But I kind of felt a kindred spirit with you. Yeah, I know that sounds hokey, but there was something about you that I thought, I want to know what this man has to say. And so I printed every page out, and I went to Red Robin Hamburgers. I don't know if you have Red Robin where you are, but
I've heard of them. Yeah.
And I took my book, went to Red Robin, got me a hamburger, an iced tea, and some fries, and I just sat there and devoured your book and made notes in the margin. And I just said, and what it really taught me now, a lot of what we did were one-off items. Of course, if you're selling a rare book collection, that means you have one of everything. And that's harder than selling 1,000 of 5 things. It's not harder, but it's more legwork. It actually can return more money, but it's more legwork. And so your promotion of email marketing was so strong in my mind and something I wanted to do, but I couldn't really figure out a way to fit it in with what we had to sell. And then I realized, now, wait a minute. I need to be sending an email to everyone, kind of keeping track of what subjects they've bought in the past, and let them know, look, if you're interested, I'm going to tell you if we have books, rare books on American Indian history coming up for sale. I'm going to shoot you an email if you're interested. And so we got people on several email lists that were targeted to different book categories that we were selling. And I could send them out an email before I posted 25 books in that category. And I'm just sure that our sales skyrocketed over what they would have just through normal eBay selling because of Silent Sales Machine version 1.0 circa 2002 or something. And ever since, I've been so excited. Every time I get your email, you said this in the last podcast, Jim, because I devour your podcast. The fact that we're kind of partnering up here with books and things has nothing to do with how much I want to know what you have to say. And in the last podcast, you talked about how people should look forward to your emails. And Jim, I look forward to your emails. Now, 14 years later, every time I get an email from you, I want to read it.
Oh, that's so cool. I love it.
So you made a major, and now I'm teaching others. Now I'm turning others onto the Proven Amazon course, and I'm telling others about PPI and the power behind it. And I'm really pushing this because I want my friends and my family to be healthy, wealthy, and wise. I mean, I care about them. I want the best for them. And so I'm telling them about all of this. And so that is the history of how I got to where I am now. And that the fact I'm still so excited to hear from you every time you send me an email or put out something. And I've bought several courses along the way. I bought PPI right before you put it in PIC, and I was thrilled. I was thrilled to have done it. It's worth every penny.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, after having done this, I mean, like you said, it was about year 2000 or so that things started rocking. And looking back, there wasn't a single magical epiphany moment where the sky opened and all of a sudden it all became clear and just this mega strategy dropped in my lap. It's been small and steady steps in the right direction, serving people and building, like you just referred to. I call my email list the most powerful asset that I own, business asset.
Yep.
And when I'm teaching email marketing, like you just said, the most powerful asset you can have, a list of people who can't wait to hear from you. So I know today's podcast is about book publishing, and we're hitting on that topic, but email marketing and your email marketing strategy is a huge and vital part of your success. The first and only to this date traditionally published book that I have, it was published by Wiley, which is a big publishing company somebody out of New York. They contacted me. It's the only book I've ever gone through a traditional publisher, and I make, well, actually I didn't make any money on that book. I give it all to a ministry. That's a story for another day. But when they contacted me and I was thinking it through, I'm like, oh, they really want me to market this. They wanted me to go on a 50-city tour and sign books as part of the contract. It was in the contract. And I said, you're going to have to pull that out, dude. I'm not going to 50 cities and signing 8 books here and there. I mean, there's no way I'm doing that. So they pulled that out and they said, well, we've got to replay, what's your marketing strategy? And I said, I'm going to send an email to my mailing list and I'll get a bunch of friends to do the same thing, guys that I've worked with and guys that owe me a favor here and there, guys that like what I'm about. And we were #1 marketing book on Amazon when it launched, just with email, just email. That's it. And I said, hey guys, even if you're not interested in this topic, buy it and give it to somebody who is. Would you help us out? Bam, shot to the top of the charts, sold a ton of it. Email marketing. So even though we're talking about books, we're still talking about email marketing. And I love that you used eBay creatively. One of the things that I'm going to stick in the show notes, I haven't mentioned yet to the listeners, if you go to silentjim.com, every episode we have in the show notes, all the links and things that we talked about. One of the things I made was a video. It still works to this day for, let's say you're selling multiple things on eBay. Let's say you've got 15 or 20 or 50 different types of items and you want to grow a mailing list for a handful of your hottest items. You can still do that with eBay. You can automate it. And there's a video. It's on YouTube. I'll give you the link, listener, if you just go to the show notes. It tells you exactly how to set it up. It's a third-party tool that you have to use. And once it's set up, set it and forget it. Everybody that buys from you, it's within eBay's policy. You follow up. You say, hey, hope you got the product. By the way, we might be selling more of this on eBay at some point. If you're interested in these types of products, get on our mailing list. Here's the link. And it's product specific. So your shoe buyers go on your shoe email list and your t-shirt buyers go on your t-shirt buyer list.